Hey there and welcome back. On today's video, I'm going to be doing a top 5 list, but just a caveat, this is not a tier list. This is not a best 5 champs in the game, not best of class, best of defenders. It's nothing like that. This is simply the 5 champs that I have at rank 3 who I have the most fun playing with. So this is talking about their play style, their abilities, certain really fun interactions in the game, and it's when it's like a situation that is not super high pressure, like Alliance War, or like super hard endgame content. Who do I default to bring in just to have a lot of fun in the game? So that's what this is. We're going to start with an honorable mention, and that is going to be Spider-Man 2099. He's one of my newest rank 3 champions and someone that I think I'm going to enjoy playing more and more as time goes on. I've never really had a Spider-Man type character at a high rank. I never had Stark Enhanced when he was in his heyday. In fact, I just recently pulled him. So I never really had the experience of a like flipping around Spider-Man as one of my top characters. And now that he's ranked 3, I do think he's going to be making it into war. His utility is really good, but I do really enjoy watching the red numbers go by, building up to the wither with the special 2, and his animations are just very smooth and cool. His heavy attack has a very large reach, and the heavy attacks are kind of important to his kit, so it is really fun to be able to punish other people's special attacks with his heavy attack as well. And yeah, the only reason he didn't make the top 5 list is I don't really have a sample size yet to compare him to, but overall I am really liking this guy, and I do encourage myself to be using him a little bit more in the future. So now we're going to get onto the main list, and coming in at number 5 is the man himself, Mr. Prestige, Silver Surfer. And there is an asterisk on this one, which is Odin pre-fights Silver Surfer. But when you put those 3 buffs on him, there's something about it that just makes him one of the most fun champs in the game to play. You basically bypass the first 3 cycles of your power cosmic because you have 3 buffs on you from the very start, which means that your special 2 is always going to be unblockable. Whenever you throw a special 1, you get a guaranteed vigilance, and the energy damage that comes off of every hit is already ramped up to a spot that would take like 60 seconds in the game to get there. So everything after that is just gravy. I really enjoy his play style of charging the heavy and getting the guaranteed miss during that phase period, building the buffs. You know, when you first see his kit, it looks like there's a lot of clock watching, a lot of complicated stuff, but the more you get used to his kit, the more it just kind of fits together. Like you throw your heavy right at the beginning, you get the power gain, and then right around the time that you've built to 1 bar of power, it's time to do the next power cosmic. And you will maybe throw a special 1 to get the Furies off, and then after that you're off to the races, getting to a special 2 right around the time you charge your heavy again for the armor up, and then you can just unleash a big special 2. By that point, with the Odin pre-fights, you can have as many as like 8 buffs already if you like dash back and get a precision as well. It's just really cool. You get a long unblockable after that, and he's got those great resistances to the debuffs like shock and incinerate, and cold snap as well, so you can just be healing off of those. You can cheese nodes like the energy adoption nodes and freezer burn. There's just so much to this guy, and I found anytime I can bring him into Act 7, I try to do it because, you know, as some other people have said, it's freaking Silver Surfer. He's one of the coolest comic book characters ever created. He's in the game, and when you actually put him with the 3 buffs, the pre-fights from Odin, he really kind of feels like the OP Silver Surfer that he should be. Great for incursions as well. And yeah, anytime I can take this guy out, I will, and I really enjoy playing him. So number 4 is going to be WASP. And I really was going back and forth about ranking WASP because I have a very weak science roster in general. So she was my first rank 3 as a science champion, and I think she was Sig 40 at the time, and I was just starting to get into Ghost, so it kind of made sense to have her for the synergy. But as a standalone champ, she is really cool. her weaknesses are simply that she's a little squishy, that she doesn't have a lot of armor or a lot of physical resistance or health. So if you do make mistakes, she's going to be dead pretty fast. But the cool thing about her is the way she is designed, you're meant to not be making a lot of contact on your block with the opponent. Once you kind of get them in the corner, you can spam heavies until they get to 1 bar of power. You can connect a heavy at the end of your combo with a passive stun. You can chain the heavy halfway through into your special attacks. And one of the most interesting things is that she has a very strong concussion against mystics on her special 1. You may not know this, but you basically, for every hit on your combo, you get an extra 1% ability accuracy reduction. But against mystics, it starts at 40. So after two 5-hit combos, you're already at 50% ability reduction. And against a champ like Dr. Doom or Ebony Maw or something, this can actually really come in handy. She also has access to Petrify. And speaking of Maw, I do think that she is actually one of the best Maw counters out there because she can very freely get those heavy attacks. And like I said, the concussion can turn off some of his abilities, which really helps. But basically, you won't be ever getting the falters on you as long as you keep getting heavy attacks, which is very easy to do. And similarly, against Dr. Doom, she's quite good because she basically has a guaranteed crit on the first 2 hits after she shrinks down. And it's interesting because the game doesn't really code it as a guaranteed crit. Because, for example, against Ebony Maw, it will still connect. And supposedly, Ghost and Corvus and their guaranteed crits do not connect against Maw, but hers do. And it might be something about the way it's written in the text that it doesn't say guaranteed crit. It says that the next 2 hits will crit. So that's kind of an interesting stipulation. But I really enjoy doing like a 4-hit combo and then charging the heavy and doing 1 hit of the heavy and then releasing a big special where the first hit of the special is a guaranteed crit. And like I was saying with Doom, to finish that thought, the fact that he has such high crit resistance, the fact that you can get these guaranteed crits against him and that they're going to do a lot of guaranteed damage against him is really quite powerful. And she does have the Petrify for his aura as well. So, she's definitely not like going to be used again in like really stressful content, but for Cavi Q, for Act 7, if she's coming along with Ghost and there's a reason to use her, I just really enjoy the play style. You're really, really active. The animations are absolutely incredible. And yeah, I just love WASP. So really, really happy to have her as a rank 3. So next up, this one probably won't be a surprise that he made the list, but it's definitely Cosmic Ghost Rider. And he's, I don't know why, but he's sort of become a point of contention among players in this game. Because when he came out, the hype was huge. Everybody wanted him, big yellow numbers, etc. And then now there seems to be a contingency of players that are really, really hard on the fact that he is overrated. And I can see that to a certain extent. Damage is his main playing card that he'll throw into the match, right? And the problem is that you do need to be able to finish your combos, right? In order to get the judgments, you need to have like 5-hit combos. And that isn't always the best way to play. Like say there's some kind of evasion or you need to be like baiting a special and you can only get 4 hits off and things like that. So I can see why, some people are like, well, utility, is different than damage and all this stuff. But like at the same time, there's probably no rotation more fun than using Cosmic Ghost Rider and getting off those big special 2s. And the thing I like about him the most actually is that there's not like one set way to play him. If you're really comfortable with his judgments and like keeping track of them in your head, to me, it's really fun to really be reacting in real time to the match and be like, okay, I just dex, so now I need to throw a special 1 so I can cancel out the judgment cycle, and then I can use a power gain to get back to a special 2. And like the awareness that you have when you're playing him to kind of know all those judgments, it's just really satisfying to me. And then, even if you don't get off like massive numbers, he has the armor break, he has the fate seal, the heal block. And, I just think he's a really, really fun champion. And probably of the champions on this list, he is one of the more usable ones. He definitely has his place on the war map and in content. I mean, obviously, if you're using Cosmic Power Back Boost, he will pretty much be a cheese option for anything. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of comment on that. I don't fully understand this debate about he's underrated, he's overrated. No, it's sort of like he is what he is. And if he works, he's an absolute blast. He's not the be all end all to solve every problem in MCOC, but you can't ignore the damage, and at the same time you can't also ignore that he does have a decent amount of utility. At the very least, just to counter Killmonger is very, very cool, and that's what he is. So I really enjoy playing him. I'm really glad I have an Awakened rank 3 version of him, and he's number 3 on this list. Okay, so next up we have another champ from the same year, and that one is going to be TIGRA. Now, I very much lucked out in, I think it was the Summer of Pain opening, and got her, and I took her right to rank 3. I do really wish that she was duped. I do really wish that she was high sig. If that was the case, I would probably use her more. But the most fun I ever had using her was she made the team for the Grandmaster's Gauntlet. At that point, it was only a max sig 5-star. The sig was very helpful, but the squishiness of a 5-star was a little scary. But I did get a solo of the Apocalypse boss in the Gauntlet with her. It was one of the most fun fights that I've ever done in the entire game. Fortunately, I have a video of it on my channel, which I will link below. But yeah, TIGRA is sort of like high risk, high reward, unless if you're super, super comfortable with her. But her play style is so fun. Just like, the Quakes and the Ghosts and the Kitty Prydes of the game, she has a way to completely bypass almost everything that the opponent can throw at you by just crouching down and missing projectiles, by completely controlling buffs against the opponents, and having unblockable special attacks and a heavy attack with an insane amount of reach, which is important to her kit to punish with those heavies. It's a really, really amazing kit, and I think they designed her so well, because like the higher your skill is with her, the more amazing things you can do. FinTech is constantly taking war bosses with him, even bosses that you wouldn't expect her to be able to take, and it's just incredible. I compare her to Quake, as in Quake is in the back left corner of the game, and she is not engaging the opponent at all, just dodging attacks, and like you don't want to touch the opponent. Whereas TIGRA is the exact opposite. You're in their corner and you are just like bashing into them constantly, baiting their specials and reacting and engaging the opponent. And to me, that is like 20 times more fun than Quake, even though they both can sort of do similar things and like bypassing some BS in the game. But yeah, TIGRA, definitely number 2 for me. She almost made the number 1 spot, because if we're just talking about pure fun and taking someone out for a spin and having a great time in the game, TIGRA is so close to number 1, but she's going to be number 2 today. And finally, this one may not be a surprise, but I have to go with Elsa Bloodstone for number 1. She's sort of my signature champ on this channel and in the Alliance War season. I'm not the first person in the world to like really get behind her. There are certainly some other ones like Rob Hop and Rob Von Schu, I believe his name is. He's another YouTuber who really prioritized ranking her up early. But she was my first skill, rank 3. It was primarily just to have anyone with a good enough prestige there at the time so I can get into a higher map 7 alliance. But she has grown on me, and I've really learned the like intricacies of her kit, so that if you were to ask me like going in blind to a quest and I had to pick a team, she's almost always going to make the team, because I'm just so comfortable with her, and her animations are so fluid. Her evade counter on the well-timed block is one of my most favorite things in the entire game. The cold snap, the incinerate, the busted debuffs, the really, really heavy precision, evade countering, purifying of non-damaging debuffs with 0 limitations. It will just happen all fights. My favorite void counter, she made it into like a third of the fights that I took in Alliance War Season 28. She was on my Grandmaster's Gauntlet team. She made a lot of appearances on my 7.3 streams. I would just bring her in and end up soloing bosses with her just because I'm so comfortable with her. And yeah, I can't say enough about this character. I know that she's not the best character in the game. I know she's not even the best skill character in the game. I know that I probably have skill champions who do things that she can't, like Mole Man, for example, and in some scenarios, Falcon. But that doesn't deny that for me, she is my favorite champ to play, the most fun champ that I have. I really recommend anyone that is a doubter of her to give her a try, because she can really do more than you expect, just by the fact that she has the evade counter, which will, minimize block damage. It counts as an intercept. It gives you free openings, and the amount of damage that she can come up with in red numbers with her crit buffs, with incinerates and cold snaps against incinerate immune, it really, really adds up. And those two abilities alone just make her like a really solid damage dealer that's fun to use. And on top of that, she has a really nice synergy with TIGRA, where they both get better from the synergy. So if you end up running them together, maybe throw a Jabari Panther on the team, you all of a sudden have this amazing team that's going to be able to take on a lot of content. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I can do more like this in the future. I'm not a huge fan of like top 10 lists in general, but for me, this one, I feel like no one can argue with because it's all my opinion, and I'm talking about me having fun in the game and my favorite champs. So hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one.